Hey pal, good morning. So, at what point is it okay to start quiet quitting? Let me tell you guys a story about when this happened to me and my reasons that I kind of pulled back on the reins for my job and stopped going, above and beyond. So, I used to work at this corner store back in Hawaii. I won't say names. Uh, but in that store, I was working in the meat department. It was like it was like a family owned business, but I was working in the meat department, and there was a point in time where everybody in that department, except for me and one other guy, left the company. They left the company, and it was just me and the one guy. He was doing the seafood, and I was doing the meat department, like the chicken and beef side. And this place that I was working at was, they had like a whole seafood counter, and uh they had like different cuts of meat, right? We had a bunch of stuff. We had like the slicer, the bandsaw. We even had like live, not live, sorry. We had cow. Like we had cow that we used to bring in and hang up, like pieces of cow. And I would have to go on the bandsaw and cut all that up, you know, like specific cuts and stuff, but from the whole piece. And then there's techniques and whatever you use to cut through that and make certain cuts or whatever. But at that point in time, everybody had left, and it was just me and the one guy, and the other guy had to do the seafood. He couldn't help me on the meat side. He had to focus on the seafood side, and I had to focus on the meat side. And this was like the hardest period through that the store was going through, because this is also happening during COVID, by the way. This I think was like 2021, maybe 2022. And masks were still a thing. And then, just the whole COVID scare was going on. But me and this one guy, we had to lock in because we were the only ones left. Out of one, two, three, four. Sorry, I'm like recounting everybody. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven. I think there was seven of us in total, and then it went down to just two, just me and the dude. But we stayed. We decided to stay instead of leaving with everybody else, and we just worked. Like we just worked. Like every day was busy. Every day was doing the job of two or three people, but by yourself, and that was for me and the dude I was working with. Each side used to have like three people. Now you're down to two dudes, one on one side. And we didn't stop doing anything that we weren't already doing. We were still doing all the special cuts. We were still doing different kinds of seafood. This is in Hawaii, so we're doing poke, different kinds of poke, and marinated meats. Um, Sorry, there's some construction going outside, but we continued to work very, very hard during this time for months. And the big boss man, would come into the room sometimes, and he'd be like, "Hey, you guys are doing pretty good. The numbers are looking pretty good, actually." So we're thinking, we're holding it up. We're doing as much as we can, and we're actually doing pretty good. He'd bring me into the office. I'd have to go meet with him because At this point, I'm taking on managerial duties without being a manager, without even a raise in pay. I was doing inventory, I was doing ordering, I was doing like department cleanup, I was doing, and this is a meat department, by the way. So every day at the end of the day, I'm washing down the whole room, sanitizing the floor, making sure everything's in check in terms of sanitization and storing away the food correctly and all this. But that comes with the job. But what I'm saying is, this is a job that used to be split up between 3 people, and I was doing all that by myself with no raise, no manager experience before this, by the way. So they just pushed this on to me, like, hey, you're gonna have to do this because you're the only guy. And then on top of this, oh, dude, there's a guy on a lawnmower. I don't know if the camera's gonna pick that up, but on top of this, the way that store worked, for whenever we'd get a shipment in, we'd have to leave work. So our shift was from like 4 in the morning to maybe about 12:30 in the middle of the day. So we had to come in, prep everything, and then we'd go home at 12:30, and then maybe about 5 hours later, after working our full shift, we'd have to come back to the store. Me and the dude would have to go home after our shift and then come back 5 hours later just to offload the shipment that we get in. We had to offload it and then store everything in the correct either chilled or freezer. So at this point, not only are we working our full-time job as 2 people, originally part of a team of 6, but we had to go work our full shift and then make time later in the day for this company so that we could come back and help them, because they had nobody. It was just us, like I said. So fast forward, big boss man comes up to me. He goes, you've been working pretty hard. We recognize that you've been sticking with us through this tough time, and I think I want to make you the manager. So I'm like, great. Finally I'll get the raise and the promotion for a job that I was already doing anyway. And I was like, great, now my pay should reflect that. Not even 2 weeks later, right? He looks at me straight in the face. This is before the 2 weeks. He looks at me straight in the face. He goes, I want to make you a manager. I'm going to go talk to the higher ups and get that going. So I'm like, okay, great. He's like, I'm going to get you an interview with the was it district manager or something like that. And he said, and then we'll go forward from there. I'm like, okay, great. 2 weeks later, dude comes back to me. He goes, yeah, so listen, we hired another guy. We hired this other dude that's gonna take the manager spot, and we're gonna pay him $7 more than you. $7 more. This dude was making $7 more than me for a job that he was not here holding up this whole time. And I wasn't given a single penny more for having held that down for that company for months. It had to at least have been 2 to 3 months of just non-stop working, going home, coming back, helping them unload stuff, doing the manager's duty, ordering, department cleanup, all this stuff, inventory. But they just found another dude. They just found another dude, paid him $7 an hour more than I was getting paid, and they didn't give me a single dime increase in pay. But the whole time they're gassing me up, you know, the whole time they're like, yeah, you're doing so good, yeah, you're holding it down, all the numbers are looking great. Oh, we want to make you manager, I'm gonna get you interview. Then what? I got replaced. The dude they replaced me with making more money. On top of this, now I had to work under him. Now I had to be like, oh yeah, welcome in, new dude that wasn't here holding everything down for this company. Let me work for you now. So I think at that point is when I really started the whole quiet quitting thing, you know? Because if there was ever a time that a company has showed me that they did not actually value the hard work that I put in for them, it was right there. And I don't know what everybody else's stance is on quiet quitting or when is the appropriate time, but I think for me that's a pretty solid moment when you can decide that a company is not worth the extra effort you're willing to put in, you know? I think at that point it's like, okay, I'm just gonna do my job and then I'm gonna go home. I'm not even gonna try at that point, because what a slap in the face. Anyway, I just wanted to share that little story just in case there's anyone else out there who's, you know, kind of thinking about how much a job is worth to them. And not every job is bad. I'm not saying like all 9-to-5 jobs are horrible or anything like that, but there comes to a point where you need to realize that these companies do not care that much about you, you know? And I think that was the breaking point for me. Anyways, I hope somebody could have related to this story, or if you're at a point where you're not sure if you want to keep putting in so much effort for a job, you know, don't let them abuse the fact that you are willing to put in the extra work if they are not willing to meet you halfway and compensate you for how much work you're doing. You know what, that's about it. I think that's it. I think that's the whole message. Either way, thank you so much for watching, guys. If you want more stories, I have more stories related to work or relationships even, then hit subscribe. More sharing. I'm gonna do more of a sharing than teaching. I got a comment on my last video that said more sharing, less teaching, so we're just doing sharing now. Anyways, have a good day, guys. I'm gonna start my day now, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.